LAITRAM.com.
Wow. Oh, yeah. A pterodactyl type creature. Johnny Quest, one of the best cartoons ever. I was flipping through the dial, saw Johnny Quest on some network way, way, way down on Cox. And I clicked on it, and I was like, this doesn't seem like an old Johnny Quest. I went to the guide. It was like 1987 or 1994 or something. I was like, oh, a remake. Yuck. I want the original from the 60s with this music, the great stories, cartoons for children and adults. It's Johnny Quest. Number 9, future first ballot Hall of Famer. It's Drew Brees, king of Washington, D.C., New Orleans Mardi Gras, with the Who Dat cheer. Yeah, you right. Tuesday afternoon, New Orleans and beyond. Corey Johnson with you. Yeah, we bring you the program, the 2-hour talk radio program. That's our bread and butter. That's how I got started with this. Added television, added live streaming, added YouTube, growing it as we move along through the years. Love coming to you each and every day. But we bring you the program from New Orleans, from Southeast Louisiana, and boy, on all our multiple platforms, including a bunch of radio stations. Oh, so fine, 93.9 FM, 93.9 FM. Make it one of your presets. We're on New Orleans zone 107.9 FM. 107.9 FM. You folks that travel outside of New Orleans heading towards Baton Rouge, maybe southern Mississippi, heading to the Diamond Head, heading to Gulfport, Biloxi, maybe Mobile, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida. We got a sneaky little powerful AM picking up the program 4 p.m. weekdays, 600 a.m., 600 a.m. Do you know how to get to the AM side of the dial on your radio? That band button, it doesn't mean like, oh, a band's going to play. Band. I don't think they're band buttons on radios anymore. Just says AM, FM, satellite, video, could say all kind of things. We're on TV. The first 90 minutes of the 2-hour talk radio program all over Louisiana on television. Number 1 TV provider in the state, Cox. We're on Cox Channel 4. Cox calls it Your View, Louisiana. I'm on Cox Channel 4 weekday afternoons starting at 4. 4 to 5:30, 90 minutes of fun on television all over Louisiana, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and beyond. You charter television subscribers, a.k.a. Spectrum. I'm on Spectrum Channel 333, Spectrum Channel 333. 4 to 5:30, 90 minutes of fun. 2 hours, CoreyTalks.com. Live streaming via our website, CoreyTalks.com. Corey spelled Kaare, CoreyTalks.com. And yes, we are on YouTube. Go to YouTube, go to the search bar, put in the Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. You folks that watch on TV all over the state from 4 to 5:30, and kaboom, at 5:30, the show just gets clipped and we're done for the day. You could watch the last 30 minutes on YouTube, YouTube television. The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson, Kaare. Corey spelled Kaare. Yeah, every weekday afternoon on YouTube for 90 minutes. Pretty gorgeous day. I mean, it's still nice outside, don't get me wrong, but a little cloud cover rolled in, got a little cloudy. Earlier today, it was just flat out gorgeous. Sunny, blue skies, like 60. Temperatures kept creeping up into the 60s, about 68 right now. You could almost go to the beach. a little cloud cover. We'll wake up around 51 in the AM on the South Shore. Lots of 50s and 60s all week long. Lots of 50s and 60s all week long. And then a rainy weekend forecasted for kind of the first big weekend of parades. Mardi Gras Day is 2 weeks away. Send out the alarm. Mardi Gras Day, 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away. Kings, queens, all kind of folks coming your way, rolling through the city and the suburbs and the exurbs and beyond. Mardi Gras Day 2024. 2 weeks from today, New Orleans. First big weekends this weekend. Let's hope the meteorologists are wrong or, things change. Some high pressure system comes in or whatever, a low pressure influences, whatever, breaks it up, moves it north, moves it south, moves it anywhere but hitting New Orleans Saturday and Sunday with lots of rain. We don't need parade cancellation. We need weather like we had earlier today. I'm hearing that bad weather forecast. I'm in the car. I'm driving around. It's beautiful weather. I'm like, can't we have that right now on a Tuesday while I'm just driving around New Orleans working, doing whatever? And when there's lots of people out on the street in the parade, can't that be the blue sky sunny day? What the hell? What the hell? Miss Peaches at the controls. There goes the neighborhood. Miss Peaches bringing her 3 little doggies with her in these little purses. These dogs are smaller than cats. It's crazy. She has 3 purses slung over her shoulder around her neck with these 3 little dogs. They don't do too much, though. I was worried a lot of barking and yapping. They just sort of sit in their purse. They're very happy. While Miss Peaches, I'm going to have to talk to Jeff Dorson about this. Radio booth, 3 dogs about 2 feet hanging around her neck, and she's smoking Misty cigarettes. I think we need at least some kind of one of those things in the bar called Miss Peaches that suck the air out, that smoke eliminators. You know what I mean? Yeah, but no, it's literally for cigarettes. It used to be. I guess that business is gone now. Smoke eaters. Used to have these machines in bars you turn on and it would eat up the smoke. We may have to get a smoke eater. I'm going to bring them back in business. Anyone got a used smoke eater from an old bar when you could smoke in a bar? We need one for Miss Peach's booth to save the dogs. Anyway, she's fielding your phone calls as she smokes her little Misty. Looks like a pencil. Little brown cigarette, really long. It's a strange looking cigarette you got there, Miss P. Yeah, wow, you're holding it sideways. That thing is. It's like 6 inches long. It looks like a pencil. Is that like a number 2? Can you fill out the Scantron with that? Oh, wow. Does it have an eraser? Are you chewing on the eraser? Is that it? Miss Peach is fielding your phone calls. 504-766-9480. 766-9480. We had a wild and woolly one yesterday. New York City Hall removing the statue of Thomas Jefferson. Just insane. The author of the Declaration of Independence, the co-author of the Constitution. This presentism, holding folks from yesteryear to today's standards, absolutely insane. Hyper woke, hyper left, loony left, crazy liberal, just crazy progressive, kind of leaning on socialism. Let's remove Thomas Jefferson. Crazy. Times-Picayune had an article on the Fairfield neighborhood. That's Bridge City for you folks that didn't know what Fairfield was, because no one knows what Fairfield is. Kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Why hasn't it worked? Times-Picayune does a whole article on what it's expected to be, why it hasn't worked. Doesn't mention a thing about the racetrack, about John Ilario allowing Laney Schwest to build that track there. That wrecked the entire thing. John Ilario walked into the office party. It was right about to begin. Everybody's about to say, okay, let's go. And he walked right up to the punch bowl with a bag full of cat poop and just dumped it into the punch bowl and said, come on, everybody, grab your cup, have some of the punch. The party is wrecked. It's over with. People don't want to have anything to do with it. No, he drove a car into the 7-Eleven. The store's closed. There's no Fairfield. There's no development. There's no 50,000 people living there, another 100,000 working there. A community of residential, civic, commercial, office, educational, and light manufacturing. $1 billion UEP Long Bridge expansion. The last, frontier in Jefferson Parish. I mean, you're in Elmwood. It's like you're in Manhattan, huh? Elmwood must be hundreds and hundreds of retail locations. You cross the UEP Long Bridge, you could shoot a gun. I mean, go hunting over there by 9 Mile Point. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday, coming back with a lot more.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOLAAC.com is your cool spot.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future. at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a Tuesday afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. 4 o'clock hour this afternoon brought to you by Blue Plate Mayonnaise. If you're looking on your grocery yourself, maybe you're at a Rouse's, you're in that mayonnaise department, that mayonnaise aisle, and you can't find that Blue Plate. It's there. I promise you it's there. You're just looking for the old label. The old label is gone, but what's inside? That New Orleans family tradition, that Blue Plate mayonnaise. They've been making that since 1927, 95 years. That's still inside the jar, the good stuff. New look, same legendary taste, new label, same great Blue Plate mayonnaise. Look for it at your Rouse's, at your favorite grocery. Blue Plate Mayonnaise, a New Orleans tradition. Corey Johnson with you. 4 o'clock hour brought to you by Blue Plate Mayonnaise. I could just say New Orleans City Councilman Oliver Thomas is joining us on the program, but what fun would that be? I'll say this instead. He's the favorite to be the next mayor of the city of New Orleans. Oliver Thomas joins us on the program.
Oh, man, I just want some of that Blue Plate magazine. Lord, Corey, you are absolutely correct. You can try imitations. You can try other stuff, but ain't no plate like a Blue Plate, especially spreading on some. You know, my daddy used to put Blue Plate in his red beans.
Oh, yeah. That was
Really?
Supposedly the secret of like Popeye's red beans. I heard was lots of mayonnaise.
Oh, man, see, I learn that something every time I come on your show. But I used to wonder, my dad, I think, why you put mayonnaise in your red beans? And that's what he did. And guess now that I'm older, guess what I'm doing? I'm putting some red beans. Everything I said I wouldn't do, my daddy did. I'm doing, man.
Yep.
Happy Mardi Gras, man, and Happy New Year to you, Bob.
Yeah, you're right. Happy New Year to you, Oliver. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
You are a professional. You diverted away from that mayor thing very quickly.
Man, I'm the councilman from District E. You know, I got enough bullseyes on my back already. But,
Yeah.
hey, looking forward to the future, man. You know that.
Yep, no doubt. Yep, everybody is. 2024 is already here. Hey, speaking of the East, what's going on in the East? Some great news. What's this battery plant all about?
Oh, man, Ivano battery. Well, you know, from COVID, and I think it was the special on 60 Minutes or 48 Hours that talked about how China was holding us hostage to many of the ingredients that people need, how would I say, resources that people need in terms of EVs and batteries that power our televisions, our way of life, our electric cars. And they controlled much of the market along with Chile and Australia. And so now Ivano has chosen New Orleans East and New Orleans in this region, man, to pilot their growth in that industry. So it was a big day today. Shout out to Jeff Swartz, the mayor and the administration, the New Orleans Regional Business Park, the chairman, Jason Hughes, vice chairman, Otis Tucker, and their board, and the Ivano team, man. They could have gone anywhere. But they posted up right across from NASA, Corey.
How many jobs are we expecting from this?
You're talking about potentially 100 jobs this round, and as they grow, even more. And it's such potentially a growth industry, right? So, you know, less than 20% market share, 10% market share means a whole lot of money, man, in terms of the potential there, because a lot of the people in the industry are saying that even though China, Chile, and Australia dominate the market in terms of those resources, in the next several years, by 2030, they'll only be able to provide 50% of the resources to emerging markets. So that's, when you talk about that, a growth industry, and the people who've been doing it for years will only be able to provide their share to 50% of the emerging market. That's an opportunity for everybody else, and that's an opportunity for us.
So it won't be a finished battery coming out the back door. This will be a material going to a battery plant that makes batteries.
That's right. The stuff that's being processed. You're absolutely correct.
Hopefully that's the next step. I'd like to go to batteries, and then how about some electric car plants?
Wow. And the major significance is for researchers and scientists and investors like Ivano to pick New Orleans East and to pick New Orleans, man.
Yep.
There's so many other areas vying for.
I'm sorry, I lost you there for a second. There's so many other areas vying for that facility.
Vying for that investment and vying for their facility. That was a real feather in the cap. But in talking to their investment team and their scientists and folk who providing the resources, they wanted to make a difference in an emerging community. So a great opportunity there. Let's treat it right. Treat them right. Let's build on it.
No, exactly. There's rarely an economic announcement like that for New Orleans East. It might be like a Folgers expansion or something on the physical NASA property, but like a newbie, something new coming in from out of the state, out of the country, whatever. That's huge.
Yeah, they're right across from Propel Park, which broke ground last year, which was almost finished. That's $110 million investment. So, the stars are lining up. But, we got to protect. They're not making any new land, and you and I have talked about it before.
Yep.
And any new land ain't new, and it's out in New Orleans East, and it's out in that region. So, I think there's an environment now, and there's an encouragement now in terms of rebranding the area, and investors are seriously taking a look at it and making those moves.
No, you're right, and I was talking about this yesterday. There was a Times-Picayune article. I'm not trying to lure you into this conversation. It was about Bridge City, Fairfield, why it hasn't taken off. And the real reason, and no one mentions, is because John Alario allowed a racetrack to be built in the middle of it. So that's a benefit for, I'm all kidding aside, a benefit for New Orleans East, because there's not a lot of like this. There's New Orleans East. There's the West Bank from Elmwood over the UEP Long Bridge, and the racetrack scares people away. No one wants to be by that noise. So that's to New Orleans East's benefit.
So, first of all, perfect analogy. And so instead of us complaining or worrying about Jefferson Parish, here's an obvious reason why, if that's part of our sales package, along with folk being able to do business timely, which has been one of our issues, right? That's a perfect marketing tool, especially when we're competing with them for businesses like this. Great example.
Hey, Oliver, I texted you yesterday about coming on the program, and I said that that Lowe's on the interstate at the old Plaza site, it's too valuable for something that's not going to produce enough tax income, isn't going to draw people in from the community or region. I like it, Goodwill or whatever it is. I'm not against them, but I think about like how that's more of a destination store. Like the folks that buy from a Goodwill, they're going to go find it. And I think about on Bullard, that old Schwegmans, that's probably about the same square footage as the Lowe's. That would be a great place for the Goodwill store that could help revive that part of Bullard. And people are going to go find the Goodwill store, where the Lowe's, I mean, it's not going to become an IKEA, but something that's more of a regional, player that needs the interstate for the promotional part, I
don't disagree with you. We fought and we held out as long as we could for Target. Target was in the negotiation until Goodwill Industries outbid them for the property, and they purchased the property. Now the good news is that Target is still looking for. They haven't ruled out that area, so we don't want to make any premature.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much room to build on that area.
Yeah, correct. And I think now that some of the property owners there put some of their legal battles behind them, Jeff Schwartz, the mayor's team, and there are some developers and attorneys representing not only the Target brand but others. There have been discussions about that, but you're absolutely correct. But I mean, you know, it was a good deal on behalf of Goodwill Industries. They were
Oh
able
no,
to get
for
it at
them
a
it's a
price
grand slam home
that is
run.
Absolutely,
They get a
correct.
big badass building right on the interstate. But I just want, you know, I wish it was like an IKEA, and then that Schwegman thing off Bullard just sits empty, and it's a fairly, you know, 20-year-old structure. It's not like it's 50 years old and needs the wrecking ball.
Well, the good thing now is that, especially given what we've done today and in the last year with Propel Park, even with some of the interest from Target and even with Goodwill, we can use those to leverage in our conversations to lure other developers and other investors. We got a couple of restaurants in New Orleans that just opened recently in the last year and a half, a year or two, that are making more money. You know, one of the guys was a private business person. He's actually shut down his company and his contracts to just work in the restaurants. Ian McNulty has written about them. He's about Thai NOLA. You have Ito's. You have Orleans Brothers with their specialty.
You talk about the black guy who married the Vietnamese woman?
Who married the Thai woman.
Oh,
yes,
Thai
absolutely.
woman. I'm sorry. That's not good to make those mistakes.
Their biggest challenge is keeping enough employees, man. You know, the guy at Ito's right off of Bullard. Unbelievable in terms of their clientele. And look, and not to be slight, but you'll understand if I say it like this. The last time I was in their restaurant, we'll talk about New Orleans East, half of the restaurant was white. So, but the food was so good that, you know, and look, good service, good product, and good people. And I think, you know, and when
that's key. Oliver, hang on one second. You know, the radio business, that 32 after the hour breaks coming down the train tracks right now, coming right back with Oliver
Game-changing
Thomas.
innovation. Look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today and we'll meet our competitive prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, With 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville, a day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe. For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Welcome back. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday. New Orleans City Councilman Oliver Thomas is with us. Oliver, I guess what you were saying going into that break, I've got to change my little, saying or whatever. When I go to Metairie, I'm like, let's go to Metairie, a.k.a. New Orleans West, home of traffic, lots and lots of traffic. Jim joins us. And when I go to New Orleans East, I say, let's go to New Orleans East, home of absolutely not one good restaurant. Frank joins us, so I'm going to have to change that. You're telling me there's more than there's one or more good restaurants out there now.
Yeah, and the good thing about that is that, especially in working with New Orleans East Matters Group, that and some of the businesses now we can, before they would go out and they would try to market businesses, attract businesses, and they wouldn't have any success stories to show them, right? Now we can use those success stories and those business owners in their sales receipts to say, hey, hold on a second now. These guys are doing really well. So that's really the next approach. It's one thing to complain about what you don't have, but the folk in New Orleans East now, man, what they're doing is supporting what we do have.
No, and that's good.
That's been a difference.
Hey, there's a PJ's Coffee out there, isn't there?
It's doing tremendous. What Stephanie Chambers and her investors have done with that spot, right? It's a go-to spot. So we have some things that are taking effect, man. We got some pioneers in some areas, and now when you think about sustainability, when you think about lithium, when you think about green investments and all of those different things, man, to have at Bono and Propel Park, right next to and right across from NASA, man, that's a whole nother shot in the arm.
Oliver Thomas is with us. Oliver, I guess most grocery shopping is at the Walmart Superstore. There's not really another. You got to go to Winn-Dixie on the Chef.
Yeah, which is not one of my favorite Winn-Dixies, but I've talked to the manager and they're trying to make an effort to kind of clean it up a lot. That Walmart New Orleans East is one of the highest grossing that they have, but of course, folk don't have many options other than that are corner stores. But we really do need some fresh fruit food markets. And I think we're going to use some of the success there to start showing, hey, look, we can support these other businesses. We can support Rouse's, or a better Winn-Dixie, especially in another location.
I don't think there's any plot against the East. I don't think it's a black neighborhood. There's too many examples of neighborhoods that are all around America where there's investment. What do you think is keeping the East from moving forward? Now, I think truthfully, from what I gather, compared to if you take the city as a whole and then you separate the 80,000 folks out in New Orleans East, it's about an $8,000 a year less income than the rest of New Orleans.
Okay, great point, right? The demographic shift post-Katrina, right, had an impact. So let's take those who think that there's a conspiracy out of it, right? So there were a lot of factors that happened. And you'll know, as a historian or somebody who studies the history of the city, when you had the outward migration to the east, it was African American professionals and developers who created a lot of those subdivisions, teachers, right? Lawyers, doctors, small business owners, folk who worked for the post office, who worked on the riverfront. You know, they started to invest and they got more for their dollar in terms of property. And there was part of that, what we called Black Mecca, in that outward migration out of the inner city, out of parts of the Upper Nine, and out of parts of Gentilly, because it was affordable. You had more land for your dollar. Well, over the years, what started to happen was that the city started to treat New Orleans East as over the high rise. Okay, and in me studying this, they didn't incentivize those areas, right? Because let me tell you, look, when we talk about downtown, people think that, you know, everybody just wants to invest in downtown. Well, many of the investments downtown have incentive packages. You know, there are tax breaks, right? There were state and local packages that encouraged it, like the convention center properties, the Walmart in Central City, with the River Gardens, even the Biomedical Research Center. Well, they didn't start using those tools to stabilize or invest in New Orleans East. And then when Katrina happened, Corey, there was a whole demographic shift. The big six housing developments, right, that were part of that Central City area, right? Lafitte, Iberville, Magnolia, St. Thomas, Gus, and Callio. So there were only two places in the city after Katrina that could house those dispersed populations. That was the apartment complexes in New Orleans East and in Algiers. But guess what didn't happen? The services to support those folks didn't all of the nonprofits, right, and all of the groups whose jobs and agencies to support those groups, they stayed where they were. They didn't go out and create headquarters and offices to service that population. So that's been part of the problem, and in terms of the demographic shift and the fact that the services to support disparate communities didn't accompany the people once those shifts happened.
I think that oil bust of '83 definitely was huge. I think Johnny Jackson and Sherman Copeland with the Section 8 housing was a major disaster. And I would also say black folks with wherewithal, Oliver, after Katrina, they're in Slidell, they're in Laplace, they're in Metairie, they're in different parts of New Orleans, but a lot of Slidell, Laplace, New Orleans East folks out there now. You know?
But yes and no. Think about this: 27 subdivisions, and when you look at the demographics and the economic data, right? The New Orleans East still has more wealthy black folk than any African American municipal district in the region and in many in the state when you talk about mass. So within those 27 subdivisions, you still got doctor this, business owner that, lawyer that, engineer this, millionaire here, millionaire there. So you still have a lot of money and a lot of influence in those areas.
Yeah,
but it wasn't branded like that.
Yeah, and I guess also, Oliver, instead of the branding and us just talking, I remember talking to Michael Heck about the British Airways flight in New Orleans years ago. And they literally figured out that every day out of Louis Armstrong International, about 500 people fly out that end up in Europe. They either go to Atlanta, they go to New York, they go to Dallas, they go to Houston, whatever, and then they fly to somewhere in Europe, Spain, Paris, Germany, London, wherever. It's like 500 a day. So this was a fact. So they sold British Airways on, you can bring a lot of these people on this flight, and that's how they got the flight. So coming up with the demographics, the dollars, the disposable income, maybe even like where it goes. Hey, it's going to Chalmette. It's going to New Orleans out by, Gentilly. It's going out, on Chef Highway out towards Dillard, then maybe, that's how you sell it to people that are, putting their money where their mouth is.
I think you own it in a way. We use the conspiracy thing to talk about why folk weren't invested. We use the race and we use it to blame people. in many cases, we didn't use the data, right, and the information to say, hey, look, this is who's here. This is what we can afford. These are the businesses that are doing successful. Why? Because people are supporting it. And I think that's the way of the future now.
Hey, I mentioned this about a year or so ago, Oliver, I think with you on the program. I was like, it's called a GoPro camera with a solar panel and a battery pack. And you can even have a modem out there, wireless cellular hookup. And no one could see it. You guys are putting some cameras now where these tires are getting illegally dumped off of Mishu, apparently, huh?
Yeah, and through Homeland Security and the Homeland Security Director, John Thomas and Colin Arnold.
Yes.
We're going to be putting about up to 50 along with the state. They got to start making examples out of people. Do you remember back in the late 90s when Baltimore had these clean city campaigns where hundreds of people used to come out, and they had the municipal court judges involved with the quality of life officers, and they would catch people, and they would walk them through the system, man, and be there to enforce a lot of the litter laws. Well, a lot of that went away. Look, the one thing we have to do overnight is stop this from being a city where people think they can do what they want, where they want, how they want, to who they want, whenever they want.
Yep.
That has to stop yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, open container, to-go cups. That's a great lifestyle part about New Orleans. 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, cars, correct, drifting, all that crap. That's not a good lifestyle part of New Orleans.
Not at all. In my conversations with new chief Ann Kirkpatrick, they've started to make traffic stops and.
Yeah, windows that have the dark tint, confiscate the car after like the second or third strike. We pulled you over 3 times with the tint. It's another ticket. Get out the car, walk home. We're taking your car.
Your license plate written on the back of a piece of toilet tissue, right?
Yeah, exactly. The illegal dumping in the East, confiscate the 18-wheeler.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's how you do it.
Hey, Oliver, real quick, interstate lights. We got about 30 seconds. I know you got to run.
Oh, man, I wish I could share with you the video that I did from the Parish line all the way to Loyola in Jefferson Parish with all those lights are out. And I did a comparison, right? And the lights is similar to the lights being out from the Superdome to the high rise, to the Morrison turn. Now, I don't know what's going on. But what I do know is that let there be light.
Yep.
And we're creating an atmosphere of darkness where folk who have ill intent, folk who don't want to do the right thing, feel like we're creating an atmosphere where they can operate. So something did, and I'm not buying that crackheads and fentanyl addicts running across the interstate, taking all of the copper wire out. There's something else going on, and we need to get to the bottom of it.
No, I was on Pontchartrain, I-10 by the cemeteries, by the train trellis, pitch black, no lights there. I'm like, this is the middle of the city for crying out loud. And yeah, I-10 in the east, I-510 in the east, it's pitch black most of the time. It's insane. It's dangerous. You light it up bright, it changes the whole mentality, changes the whole attitude.
Correct. Look at a quarter, all the lights that are out.
Yep.
Yeah, hey, look, we got to get a handle on those things, man. And, another big peeve that I have right now is I met with a businessman today who owns a lot of property now, who's also invested in Gulfport, right? And he's talking about how easy it was to get a permit. And while he was waiting on his permit, he was given a temporary permit.
Exactly.
He was given a temporary permit to operate because they knew he qualified for a permanent permit.
Yeah, Oliver, there's an expression when people are doing deals. It's called time kills deals. New Orleans is the time killer. We want to give you time to rethink it and change your mind and go in another direction. I mean, these other places like, wow, we got someone at the plate. Let's make sure we get this sale done. New Orleans is the opposite. Whatever, maybe we'll get a sale.
That needs to happen yesterday, Corey.
Yep. Hey, final thing, and it'll be some homework for you. I don't care if the streets are paved or not. We need to stripe streets. That's like the bright lights. That's a mentality thing. If streets had stripes on them, I don't care if they got potholes or not. Stripe every street. Oliver, talk to you soon.
All right, man. Bless you, man. Happy Mardi Gras. Happy New Year to you and the fam, and keep doing what you do, young brother.
Yeah, you're right. That's Oliver Thomas joining us on the program. Corey Johnson with you. Coming right back.
It's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Have a painting project but can't decide on the perfect color? At Helm Paint and Decorating, we offer half-pint paint samples in any Benjamin Moore color for under $5, so you can test potential paint colors before investing in a full gallon.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson with you. Miss Peaches, I'm in the green room. I'm just doing some research on the show, and I'm thinking, got about a minute left. Usually I'm pretty good at that, but apparently not today. Walking in late. It doesn't look good on TV or YouTube. Scrambling in. The empty chair on TV. Look on TV up there, Miss Peaches. Look at that empty chair. Watch, Miss Peaches. Yeah, there he comes. There he comes with his green water bottle. That's water, by the way, glass bottle. I think, Miss Peaches, people think there's like an alcoholic beverage in there. That would be ridiculous. That would be breaking FCC rules and regulations, and I would never do such a thing. Seriously. I know that sounds like, yeah, whatever, Corey. Hey, why aren't you at Katie's right now? We're closing in on 5:00. After work, before dinner, Katie's in Mid-City, the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. And hey, if you're looking for a Super Bowl spot, Katie's is it. Super Bowl Sunday, all those flat screen TVs. Are you kidding me? Plus a bunch of great New Orleans characters in there each and every day. It is the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant, and folks from not only that Mid-City neighborhood go there, folks from other neighborhoods, even outside of Orleans Parish, make it their neighborhood restaurant. They're in there all the time, 3-4 times a week, a bunch of characters. A true taste of New Orleans specialties, old school, big portions, great for sharing. Katie's in Mid-City, as New Orleans as it gets. Hey, if you missed the 4 o'clock hour so far, you missed a lot. Oliver Thomas was with us for a good 25 minutes talking about a bunch of stuff, New Orleans East, and the like. 100 king cakes stolen from a delivery van. I don't get that. Like, well, what are you doing with that? Seriously. A buddy of mine owns a bike shop, and some kids came in and grabbed a bunch of stuff and ran down the street, and they went and chased them, and they just dropped the stuff. You know what they stole? Like 30 of those little things you put the 2 screws to where you put it's a little drink holder thing, like the water bottle holder, that little like metal cage thing. What are you doing with those, Miss Peaches, on the street? You're like, bicycle water holders that sell for $10. I've got them for $1. I mean, how are you moving that item? It isn't the mafia, the mob. We took a truck of cigarettes. It's went in the store, gonna steal something. We stole a bunch of the water bottle holders, just like irrational. You stole 100 king cakes. What are you doing with that? King cakes for $1? What are you doing with 100 king cakes? Seriously. What are you going to do with the 100 king cakes? It's mind-blowing. It's not 100 cases of wine. You can't. It's a perishable item. I'm sure they got squished and squashed in the move. How many of us out? It just a crazy theft. Someone blows out the windows of a van to open up the van to steal 100 king cakes. I guess if there's a truck on the side of the road, king cakes, there's your boy, there's your guy. And this local company was bringing them to like Meridian, Mississippi. But luckily they this morning went to a bunch of suppliers and supposedly got most of king cakes and hauled up to Meridian and got rid of their king cakes. Anyway, I don't get that kind of theft. I don't get much theft, really, to be honest with you. I'm not into theft. I'm not into doing it or receiving it. Not really into theft too much. Not into crime, Miss Peaches. I'm not really a criminal type guy. I like following the law, by golly. You know, like everybody else, pretty much. 90-something% of the population. Hey, new Mardi Gras rules. Mardi Gras Day, 2 weeks away. New Mardi Gras rules. I have no problem with these rules, to be honest with you. Nothing in place more than 4 hours before a parade. 4 hours, my God. I mean, Endymion's going to roll what? They roll like 4:15 or something? So, like, you can go out there like 11:30 or noon and set up. This, setting up on Wednesday for Endymion and putting a blue tarp held down by spikes and then a rope around the area and, already bringing your ladders out. That's insane. It's crazy. It's like, dude, it's Wednesday. Yeah, but it's Endymion. It's a tradition. No, it's a tradition that has evolved over time. That's a big nightmare. Regular people want to show up and just walk through. Oh, you can't walk through my area? I mean, your area, dude. Shoulder to shoulder, I'm walking right through here. And then this is one that I never, ever understood at all, ever. Never. The ladders at the curb. Hey, let's put the high seats in the front and the low seats in the back where the people in the low seats can't see through the seats in the ladder and see the floats. The ladder should be in the back. If you're on a ladder, what do you care if there are people below you in front of you? You're on a ladder. You don't need to be like, I can touch the rider of the he handed me the stuff. So now the rule is 6 feet from the curb, all ladders. Can't have the ladder right up against the curb like on St. Charles Avenue. Has to be 6 feet back, probably like by the streetcar track. That's where it should be. St. Charles Avenue, it should be that first streetcar rail, maybe the second one towards the middle for ladders because they're elevated. You're above the crowd. It's like having a stand that's built. Doesn't need to be in the front. It can be in the back because you're elevated. It's weird how theaters work. The back is high and the front's low. Isn't that weird how it does that? What's that, Blue Boy? Basic kindergarten. Can't tie ladders together, no roped off areas, new rules for what, Blue Boy? It's pronounced Mardi Gras. I think you're wrong on that, Blue Boy. Oh, you were teasing. 5 o'clock powwow next.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers Breitling time, 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson.
Susan Spicer joining us on the program.
Even when they presented me the award, the people that I look up to the most, Frank was there and Donald Link was there. It does cause you to reflect back and think about your whole career.
Maybe the Stella Brennan Award says that to you, like I've arrived.
It certainly is kind of the ultimate honor when it comes to cooking and hospitality in New Orleans and the world.
New Orleans style talk gumbo, served daily.
Doesn't get much better than that, huh?
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see. What about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became number one for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Dooby-dooby-doo, where are you? We got
What a coincidence. I took the Good Times van. I drove the Good Times van to work just moments ago. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you on a Tuesday. It is indeed the 5 o'clock powwow. No Scooby-Doo. Drew Brees, please. Number 9, Drew Brees, please. La Jolla, California, Drew Brees, please. Thank you very much, Mr. Drew Brees. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you. Thanks so much for joining us, New Orleans. Tuesday afternoon edition of the program. Yeah, I can't figure it out either, Miss Peaches. Absolutely gorgeous day out there. Well, let me change that. It was an absolutely gorgeous day earlier. It's still really nice. No rain. It's just kind of cloudy. Temperatures in the 60s, fading into the high 50s. It'll be like 51 when we wake up tomorrow. Tonight's another good night to throw down the coals or fry some catfish or do something outside in your space in your yard with friends and family. It's nice out there. 68 degrees, gorgeous day. This week, 50s and 60s all week long. Keep your fingers crossed that, I don't know, something happens. High front, cold front, low pressure, high pressure, something that breaks up the predicted weather for the weekend. The meteorologists have forecasted a rainy Saturday and Sunday, and we don't want that because Mardi Gras Day is 2 weeks from today. This weekend is that first big weekend of parades, and we pretty much roll, straight through from here on out. So this Saturday and Sunday, we do not need rain. We need what we had earlier today, the morning, kind of midday, early afternoon weather where it was like 62, cool breeze and blue skies. When I was driving, I heard a weather forecast for the weekend, and I'm experiencing that weather we had earlier that was just perfect. I was like, why can't it be storming and raining right now when I'm just tooling around New Orleans doing nothing, working, running errands, that kind of stuff where, weekend, you got a crowd of people on the street wanting to enjoy a parade. Can we get a little trade here? Trade out today's weather, this morning's weather for this weekend. Anyway, still a few days away. You know how it works. Ask people that hunt, fish, play tennis, play golf, landscape, that enjoy the outdoors, that have set plans. We'll throw pickleball into the equation now. Yay, pickleball. That have set plans outside. I'd say 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5 when it's rain forecast. I'm not talking 90%, but when they're, you got a 30, 40, 50% chance of rain, most of the time, more than not, you get in the activity. You get in the hunt, you get in the golf, the tennis, fishing, whatever. The outdoors folks know it. So hopefully this weekend isn't kind of a washout like predicted right now, like forecasted right now. Hey, if you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed a lot. Councilman District D. Oliver Thomas joined us. Councilman District E. Oliver Thomas joined us on the program. Tomorrow, another edition of Hillier and Hennigan. Right-leaning Quinn Hillier, left-leaning Ellis Hennigan. These guys are pretty much set in their ways. Quinn Hillier, you can check out his website, Quinn with one N, Hillier, Hillyer, QuinnHillier.com. Conservative since he was 12. He is a staunch right-wing conservative Republican. Ellis Hennigan, pretty darn liberal. Lived in New York last 40 years or so. Left-leaning Ellis Hennigan. You can check him out at Hennigan.com. They'll join us tomorrow to discuss a whole lot of stuff. From Thomas Jefferson statue being removed in New York City by City Hall, just insane, to Trump and Biden, how it appears most of America, Republicans and Democrats included, except the, kind of the zealots of the parties, they'd like a reset. Can we bring in new candidates? Boy, wouldn't that be a nice vote? It's going to be Biden as the Democrat nominee, incumbent, Trump as the Republican nominee, or each party puts up someone else. Unknown. Yes, the unknown. Can't get any worse. We have the aging quickly president, kind of feeble, a little slow and sluggish. And then you just have like the heart attack waiting to happen old guy in Trump, just like waiting for the balloon to implode, the orange balloon. But, folks that are left hardcore, they love Biden. And the Trump supporters, there's nothing you can do to Trump. The worse you make Trump out to be, the more they love Trump. But most folks, including most Republicans and Democrats, would like a reset. I know I would. I'd take cinder block versus, sack of coal. Hey, Baton Rouge, Helm Paint and Decorating has invaded the capital city. When it's time to paint in Tiger Town, think Helm Paint and Decorating, like New Orleanians have been doing for over 50 years. 7 Helm Paint and Decorating locations in Metro New Orleans, featuring high-quality Benjamin Moore paints, free 2-hour delivery anywhere in Metro New Orleans, East Bank, West Bank, North Shore, Mandeville, Hammond, they got you covered. Baton Rouge, same thing. 4 area Helm Paint and Decorating locations in Baton Rouge, high-quality Benjamin Moore products, and yes, free 2-hour delivery so you can keep working, bringing the supplies right to your job site. And that's Metro Baton Rouge, West Baton Rouge, like Bruley, Port Allen, East Baton Rouge, Prairieville, even Gonzales. 7 Helm Paint and Decorating locations in Metro New Orleans. 4 Helm Paint and Decorating locations in Metro Baton Rouge. When you got to paint in Metro New Orleans, when you got to paint in Metro Baton Rouge, do it once, do it right. They will literally steer you in the right direction. Helm Paint and Decorating. Yeah, you right. Hey, Miss Peaches is at the controls. 766-9480. Phone lines are open. I got some $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates to give away. 2 weeks till Mardi Gras. 2 weeks from tomorrow, guys, Valentine's Day. I'm not making this up. 15 days till Valentine's Day. 15 days to get your you-know-what together. I got you covered. Woodhouse Day Spa. It's what she wants, a day of relaxation at the city's premier day spa, the Woodhouse. I got some $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates. Who was the voodoo queen of New Orleans? Who was the voodoo queen of New Orleans? Give me the answer to that. I got 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse. 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 504 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. Who is the main character in Confederacy of Dunces? Almost required reading if you're a New Orleanian, huh? That should be public school required reading. Main character in Confederacy of Dunces. Give me the answer to that. I've got 50 big bucks for you. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. Mid-City, New Orleans, Canal Street at Carrollton. They're in Metairie near North Kenner, Transcontinental, West Esplanade. They're on the North Shore, Mandeville, East Causeway Approach, about 90 seconds from Treyen, right across from the Mandeville City Hall. They're in Slidell, about 90 seconds off the I-10 Gauze exit. And they're in Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana. WoodhouseSpas.com. Check them out online. Print your own gift certificate, any denomination, online. WoodhouseSpas.com. Who was the voodoo queen of New Orleans? 766-9480. You got the answer? I got 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse. 766-9480. Main character in Confederacy of Dunces. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. Yeah, guys, Valentine's Day, 15 days away. Real Natural Diamonds, Friend and Company Fine Jewelers, Maple Street, in between Broadway and Carrollton. They have a room full of real natural diamond jewelry, everything in it under $1,000. Get a Real Natural Diamonds for Valentine's Day. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store, and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" And he said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Ooh la la, that's what I said. Ooh la la, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Served in New Orleans' finest restaurants, Leidenheimer French bread. There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Yep, guys, 2 weeks from tomorrow, day after Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras is 2 weeks from today, Mardi Gras Day. The next day, Ash Wednesday, Valentine's Day. I got some $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates to give away. Let's see. This is a holdover question from last week, the Plaza Tower. I don't see an X through this, and I don't remember an answer. The Plaza Tower, that Joe Yeager building, the black and white 44-story building, Loyola at Howard Avenue, opened in the late 60s. It's abandoned now. Yeager supposedly has a contract with someone trying to get that deal done. Hopefully they'll invest millions and redevelop that building. What made the old Plaza Tower building the top few floors? It was like the top 2 or 3 floors of that 44-story office tower. What made those floors unique? What made the building unique? What was different about those top 2 or 3 floors of the Plaza Tower? Give me the answer to that. I've got 50 big bucks. A gift card, good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. 50 big bucks. And I've got a couple of fresh questions. Today's 2 questions. Pick your poison, either one. Who was the voodoo queen of New Orleans? Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. 766-9480. You got the answer? I got 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse. Main character in Confederacy of Dunces. Give me the answer to either one of those 3 questions. Plaza Tower, Voodoo Queen, Confederacy of Dunces. I got 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse. Top few floors of the Plaza Tower, what made it unique. Who was the Voodoo Queen of New Orleans? Main character, Confederacy of Dunces. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 504-766-9480. 504-766-9480. Love to hear from you. New Mardi Gras rules for parade goers. What do you think? 766-9480. I don't see a problem with this in New Orleans. Nothing in place more than 4 hours before a parade. I mean, setting up for Endymion a day or 2 in advance with the blue tarp and the roped off area or the barricades or the fencing material, it's insane. Nothing in place more than 4 hours before a parade. Ladders need to be 6 feet back from the curb of the street. I think it should be more like 12 or 15 feet. It's a ladder. You're already the highest point up. Everyone should be in front of you, not behind you or around you. Ladders should be in the back, right? I'm not trying to take away from anybody on a ladder, but I mean, you're already jacked up in the air 6 feet, 8 feet. Why should you be in the front row? It doesn't make any sense. Or right on the curb where there's 2 rows of people in front of you and that's it. Back the ladders up a little bit. 6 feet from the curb. I think that's just common sense. Can't tie ladders together. I think that is too. Shouldn't be able to put ladders like butted next to each other almost. Or maybe only two of them together. Put two together, and if you have 4 kids, have a little gap where people can walk through. You can stand there and block the gap. But you can't, stringing like 4, 5, 6 ladders together, or not even stringing them together, just butting next to each other. It just creates like a wall. Hard to get through. No roped off areas. I don't know. All that makes sense to me. But, you folks that have the blue tarp and the roped off areas and the ladders and all that. Corey, I've been doing this 20 years. We pull the truck up 4 days in advance and claim our space. I don't know. It just seems kind of crazy. I guess you guys don't like it. 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. 100 king cakes stolen from a delivery van. I just don't understand people. You look in a van and there's stacks of king cakes. Hey, let's steal the king cakes. And then I guess you had an SUV or a van that you could load 100 king cakes in. What are you doing with the 100 king cakes? I mean, they're probably dumped in a dumpster somewhere, pushed out on the side of the road, squashed, ruined. I don't understand people. Who would steal king cakes? Anyway, this group, King Cakes on the Run or King Cake Delivery or something, I forget the name of the group, they were heading to Meridian, Mississippi this morning with those 100 king cakes. They fortunately went to their suppliers and got, I don't know if they got another 100, but they got a bunch, and they went up to Meridian and sold their king cakes or met their obligation, their commitment. We'll be bringing you 100 king cakes on Tuesday morning. I don't understand people doing that kind of stuff. Crazy. Hey, who was the voodoo queen of New Orleans? You got the answer? I got 50 big bucks for you. Good at the Woodhouse. Good at the Woodhouse Day Spa. Just in time, guys. 15 days away, 2 weeks from tomorrow, Valentine's Day. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. Main character in Confederacy of Dunces. Give me the answer to that. 50 big bucks for you. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse locations. Just in time for Valentine's Day for her, guys. 766-9480 is how you participate. The Plaza Tower, that abandoned office building. When it opened in the late 60s, those top few floors, wasn't office space, something different, something unique for that era. What made that building different, those top few floors? 766-9480. We got an answer earlier of rotating lounge, but that is incorrect. The old Ritz-Carlton had a rotating lounge. I'm assuming some big, massive motor is probably still there, just disconnected and not operating. Or maybe they removed some big, massive motor when they were doing the renovation. But that Ritz-Carlton, like $500-600 million, they stopped the rotating lounge atop the old World Trade Center. What was that? We used to go drinking into the sunset, sipping into the sunset. Porgies or Corgis or something. What was the place on top of the World Trade Center? I forget. Anyway, I remember doing a Saints program there, like a coach's show or something. And Brad Muster, the old Chicago Bear fullback, running back, who was a Saint, he came up to do the show. And we're up at Porgy's or whatever the hell it was called, the rainforest up there. Comes up and does his segment and leaves. And about 20 minutes later, he comes back. And he was looking to get his parking ticket validated. So literally, I remember Brad Muster at this time, the Saints signed into some ridiculous deal. I don't know what it was. The money's, if I told you the money from back then, it would seem minuscule, but it was big. In today's money, it's like $8-10 million a year, that kind of thing. Big time contract. He literally left, got in the elevator at the Hilton, it was the Hilton, not at the World Trade Center. Maybe that's why it was the rainforest of the World Trade Center. I guess we're at the Hilton. So I'm butchering the story, Miss Peaches. We weren't at the rainforest it was the rainforest at the Hilton, not the Porgy's thing, the rotating bar at the World Trade Center. But I'll continue my story that's not applicable anymore. Multimillionaire Brad Muster. Now, granted, it was probably like a $10 parking ticket. Wasn't $1. But he went down the elevator, got out in the parking garage, walked to his car, got in his car, drove to the exit, might have been 3, 4, 5 cars in the line, went all the way up to the gate, handed him the ticket, and they said, $10. And they said, no, I'm Brad Muster. I just did a radio show upstairs. It's supposed to be validated. Well, we need a ticket for it to be validated, sir. So they either had to back up cars or have him go through the gate and come back in. He reparked his car, got in the elevator, came all the way back, and I validated his parking for him, which I would have anyway. I forgot about it or I didn't do it. Someone else stamped it. Wasn't my responsibility. He forgot, whatever. Not a big deal. I don't know. I'm just a radio dude. Radio salary, not multimillionaire guy. I do fine. I'm not complaining about money. I'm not rich. I'm not poor. I probably do better than most people in my industry, thank goodness. Good for me. I probably would have just paid the money. I'm not inconveniencing all these people, driving back in, parking, going back up the elevator, all that. I'm just going to pay the $10. Brad Muster came all the way back up. I was blown away by that. Wanted to tell that story on the radio, but I held back. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, you right. Fausto's Italian Bistro. They're rolling till 6 o'clock. They're rolling till 9 o'clock. We roll till 6. They go till 9. 5 to 9 Monday through Thursday for dinner. They go till 10 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. Lunch Monday through Friday. Some of the city's best Sicilian and Italian. Fausto's Italian Bistro. Over there on Vets. Yummy. Corey Johnson with you. Tomorrow, Wide Open Wednesday edition of the program. Another edition of Hillier and Hennigan. Right-leaning Quinn Hillier, left-leaning Ellis Hennigan. That's on tomorrow's program. Those guys are always good. That'll be in the 4 o'clock hour. They're both native New Orleanians, smart too. Quinn went to Newman. Ellis went to Jesuit. Quinn went to Georgetown in D.C. Ellis went to Columbia in New York. Both essentially have been out of the city. Quinn came back for little stints here and there for a little while. But both these guys, I'm going to guess, are about, I want to say 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, something like that. So they left New Orleans at 18. So they've been gone for, wow, fellas, about 45 plus years now, essentially. No, what I love about them, though, they're national pundits. You'll check them out on some of these national, political talk outlets. They're both authors. They, can write. They're smart. They're educated. They're reasonable. They use common sense. Now, Quinn's a staunch conservative. Ellis is pretty darn liberal. They don't move off of their stance. They're not sellouts, but they have really good arguments, discussions. They don't raise their voice. They don't name call. They respect each other. Now, I learn something every time I get these two guys on. And what I like, they're us. They're native New Orleanians, so they get us, yet they're national pundits. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. I feel lucky to have them. I think that segment's like, national type level stuff. And has nothing to do with me. I'm just playing traffic cop. I mean, most of the time I ask a quick question. Believe it or not, I get out of the way. Quinn goes off or Ellis goes off. And sometimes I don't even have to say, Quinn, to like let him come in. Ellis, what do you think? Don't even have to say. Sometimes I just sit back. I could practically put my feet up on the table. And if I smoked cigars, I could smoke a cigar. Have a brandy if I drink brandy. No, they go back and forth, but never heated, never yelling at each other, never name calling, just throwing out, strong facts that lead to pretty logical conclusions. Anyway, tomorrow, Quinn Hillier and Ellis Hennigan join us again on the program. A lot to discuss, like the Thomas Jefferson statue removal from in front of New York City's City Hall. Just crazy. Thomas Jefferson. The reason for the removal? Participated in systemic crimes against indigenous people or other crimes against humanity. Oh, the author of the Declaration of Independence, the co-writer of the Constitution, the third president of the United States, that Thomas Jefferson? I mean, just this presentism. Presentism is judging people from the past by today's standards, ethics, morals, integrity, all of that. I mean, think about that for a second. When did women get the right to vote? Google that one for us, Miss Peaches. I think women got the right to vote, I want to say like 1924. Like, it might be celebrating like 100 years of women voting. I think it's something like that. 1923, 1924. 1919. That's when women. The 19th Amendment, 1919. That should be easy to remember. All 19s. That's the devil. It's the devil letting you women vote. That proves it, Miss Peaches. The 19th Amendment in 1919, that's the devil. Should have never let you women vote. Like Tom Amos, the James character on Good Times. Florida Evans pleaded with him, don't you say it, James, don't you say it. The kitchen and the bedroom, that's the place where you folks should be talking about women in general. I concur with James Evans' character from the 70s and Good Times, Miss Peaches. I'm joking, of course, Miss Peaches. You want to know where you dig your hole deeper when you do that? I'm joking, Miss Peaches. I love women. I love women more than most men love women. Just like, you need a bigger shovel to dig your hole, Corey. No, I was kidding, though, of course. Seriously, I was kidding. Anyway, that's interesting. So, women in 1919, the 19th Amendment, could vote. It's just been that long. So, anyone from 1920 on back is an immoral, unethical, not a person worthy of celebrating because they were in an era where women couldn't vote. Maybe there were some of these people that were against it. There obviously were a lot of people against women voting. It took till 1919 for it to happen. My God, the majority of this country's existence, for the majority of it, women could not vote. Think about that. Wrap your brain around that for a second. For the majority of this country's existence, women could not vote. So everybody that have no problem with that, they're X'd off the list because obviously that's wrong. Women should have been allowed to vote. This presentism is crazy. Judging people from the past by today's standards. People in the past were like barbarians. They lived an entirely different way. And then where do you draw the line? Is it just like certain types of what would be considered criminal behavior or unethical, immoral behavior? I mean, where is the line? Like I mentioned, my top 5 Americans, most influential, most important throughout history: George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, Abraham Lincoln, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. supposedly had some affairs with women outside of marriage. Some of the women were white, whatever that's worth. Who cares? I bring it up because it apparently is a fact. There's a lot of, proof behind that. I don't think anyone that knows the history of Dr. Martin Luther King denies such a thing, but no one is thinking about that. But apparently when folks think about Thomas Jefferson, it's Sally Hemings and slavery, and that's it. And we got to take his statue down in front of, New York City Hall. I'm not going to sit here and try to say an individual hurting themselves or their spouse by committing adultery, I mean, they're hurting themselves, is equal to slavery and enslaving someone. They're not equal at all. At all. I'm just wondering where the line of demarcation on ethics, morals, integrity. Like, oh, no, you can be like JFK. JFK, prolific cheater on his wife, but his good things outweigh that. So, no, JFK's not part of that. But Abraham Lincoln may have owned some slaves. His father did in Kentucky. He's out. The number one mover on planet Earth abolishing slavery, the most significant single human being, he's out because maybe he owned slaves. His dad definitely did in Kentucky. But JFK's in because it's only adultery. It just, this presentism is really a crazy thing. There's going to be no one left in history. There's going to be no one left. Hey, are you heading across the North Shore? Heading across the causeway to the North Shore? I got the Trey Yen phone number. That's gold. I know you were on the causeway going, what am I going to do for dinner? Husband, wife, kids. What am I going to do for dinner tonight? Single. What am I doing for dinner tonight? You're on the causeway? How about a big to-go order from Trey Yen? 985-626-4476. 985-626-4476. That's the phone number at Trey Yen. Fire in a big to-go order or dine in. They're at the foot of the causeway. You North Shore folks, you know where they're at. And you South Shore folks, Trey Yen, 25 minutes from Lakeside Shopping Center. Easy to get to. Door to door. Lakeside to the front door at Trey Yen, 25 short minutes. Tonight for dinner, make it Trey Yen in Mandeville.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anyway. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Boy, when you head into any of the 60 plus Rouse's markets, smells like Mardi Gras, because those cinnamon dough king cakes are a bacon. Each and every of those 60 plus Rouse's locations, in the bakery, they're making those king cakes fresh. Boy, when I walk in that Chapatulas at Napoleon Rouse's, there might be 100 king cakes sitting at the front door, right? When you walk in on tables, like 100, all fresh, baked that day. And you know what I love about Rouse's? King cake by the slice. Instead of having to buy the whole king cake, you can get a few slices. It's perfect. I do that all the time. Best quality, best price, best selection. No one sells more king cakes in the world each and every Mardi Gras than Rouse's Markets, the number one seller of king cakes on planet Earth. Rouse's Markets. Over 60 locations, baking them fresh. 40, 50-year-old cinnamon dough recipe that Rouse's uses. They've got about 20 plus different flavored king cakes with the cream filling, like 20. Rouses.com. You can ship those king cakes to friends and family around the country. Rouses.com. Yeah, when you go to your Rouse's to pick up anything, grabbing some goodies for dinner, week's worth of shopping, whatever, a handful, a basket full. Yeah, smells like Mardi Gras. The aroma, the sense of Mardi Gras, because it's king cakes that are being baked at each and every Rouse's. Really excellent king cakes, by the way. I'm kind of a plain Jane vanilla guy. I get the just original, no cream filling, I know. What are you doing, Corey? I get the cinnamon dough and the icing, the plain Jane one. I love it. Rouse's Markets, go get your king cake. It's pretty amazing, Rouse's. The world's number one seller of king cakes during Mardi Gras, and the world's number one seller of crawfish, live by the sack or freshly boiled, hot from the pot. No one sells more crawfish during crawfish season, coming up soon. Not right now. Then your neighborhood Rouse's Markets. Hey, speaking of Rouse's, phone lines are open, 766-9480, 504-766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. I've got a few $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates to give away. Good at the Woodhouse Day Spa, 5 area locations, just in time, guys. 2 weeks from tomorrow, Valentine's Day. 2 weeks from today is Mardi Gras. That means 2 weeks from tomorrow, it's not only Ash Wednesday, it's Valentine's Day. Get her a day of relaxation, what she wants from the Woodhouse Day Spa. The Plaza Tower, the 44-story abandoned building on Loyola and Howard, that black and white office tower with the big netting on the top. Hopefully it's going to get sold and back into commerce, hopefully. What made it unique? The top like 2 or 3 floors weren't office space, something else. What made that building unique? Give me the answer to that. 50 big bucks can be yours at the Woodhouse. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. 766-9480. Hey, who was the voodoo queen of New Orleans? Voodoo Queen of New Orleans. Give me the answer to that. 50 big bucks to the Woodhouse is yours. 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines. 766-9480. The book, it should be like required reading for New Orleanians. The Confederacy of Dunces, main character. Confederacy of Dunces. 766-9480 is the phone number. 766-9480. 100 king cakes stolen from a van this morning. It's just kind of mind-blowing. Like, I think someone stole the king cakes and then they got rid of 90-something of them because they're like, what am I going to do with 100 king cakes? Sell them on the side of the road? Speaking of Mardi Gras, new Mardi Gras rules, at least in Orleans Parish, I don't have a problem with them. You might. 766-9480. Nothing in place. Ladders, roping off an area, blue tarps. Nothing in place more than 4 hours before a parade. Nothing in place more than 4 hours before a parade. So you Endymion folks can't rope off an area, put up barricades, fencing, blue tarp on the ground, sofa, ladders, Wednesday for Saturday's Endymion parade. The city's going to have folks coming in there, sweeping the areas and confiscating all the ladders and stuff. By the way, ladders need to be 6 feet from the curb, can't be on the curb. That makes sense. Ladders on the curb make no sense. Why should ladders be at the front row or near the front row? It's a ladder. It's going to block people from behind you. You know, you go into the movie theater and you have an afro that's 3 feet high and 3 feet across, just a huge 70s style afro. Maybe sit on the back row. Maybe sit on the back row. You got the beehive hairdo. You're like a B-52. Some woman, you got 3 feet of hair sticking straight up like Marge from The Simpsons. B-52s. Don't sit in the front row at the movie theater. Probably sit in the back row. Same thing with the ladders. Why would you want to stack them together tight? And why would you want them front row? You're above everything to begin with. So ladders 6 feet from the curb. So people can be in front of the ladders down below. Not taken away from you catching anything unless it's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Can't tie ladders together. No roping off areas. I think all that's smart. Hey, if you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed Oliver Thomas joining us. Tomorrow, Wide Open Wednesday, 4 o'clock hour, another edition of Hillier and Hennigan. I always like getting those guys on. Right-leaning Quinn, left-leaning Ellis Hennigan. Hey, the 5 o'clock powwow this afternoon brought to you by Leidenheimer Baking Company. Makers of that wonderful Leidenheimer French bread. I had a to-go order from a restaurant I go to. They always give me a little mini loaf of Leidenheimer with a big blob of room temperature butter in a little to-go container. They had everything but the butter last night. And I didn't have any butter in my fridge. I was kind of bummed for about a second. I was like, I'm not throwing that Leidenheimer loaf away. I threw it in the oven, and then I just poured some olive oil on a plate and put a little salt and cracked black pepper and soaked up that olive oil with that Leidenheimer French bread. Pretty damn good. Yeah, that po' boy you enjoy, if it's an authentic New Orleans po' boy, it's on Leidenheimer French bread. French bread being served in the city's finest restaurants, Leidenheimer. Baking it in the city for over 125 years, since 1896. Leidenheimer French bread. 5 o'clock powwow brought to you by the Leidenheimer Baking Company.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Since 1896, a true taste of New Orleans. Leidenheimer French bread. Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. In the 4 o'clock hour, Oliver Thomas joined us on the program. We were discussing some interesting topics like that battery plant. It's not a battery plant. It is actually a plant going in New Orleans East that's going to make some products that are used in batteries. Hopefully, you get that. It leads to maybe a battery manufacturer in the East. And then could you imagine like the I-12 corridor in the North Shore becoming like an electric car manufacturing corridor? No, I can't either. But Alabama did it 30, 40 years ago. They had no automotive jobs, and they decided we're going to try to have automotive jobs. And now 15% of all automotive jobs in North America are in the state of Alabama. No, they've diversified their economy. They've maximized what they're capable of doing. We're the kind of the opposite. We're rich. History, culture, architecture, and we minimize. It's mind-blowing. Anyway, hopefully we can get some car manufacturing plants in the state of Louisiana, one of the few southern states that doesn't have that. Talked about illegal tire dumping, some cameras going up, interstate lights getting fixed in the east. What, Blue Boy? Tomorrow, Wide Open Wednesday, another edition of Hilliard and Hennigan. You're right on the money. Thank Miss Peaches. Thank everybody for watching and listening. See you tomorrow, straight up 4 o'clock. Be there.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 6 p.m.